that you want to. So I know you know how to find Google Images, but I wanted to let you know a couple of things about the images that you want to look for. So I'm going to do a search. My computer is really slow because it's very old now, so you're going to have to be patient. But you can probably follow along since it's so slow. And then I'm going to click on Images. And what I'm going to show you is that Google Image Search allows you to decide what size of image that you want to find, which might be important if you're working with an image in your Word doc and it looks too small, or when you make it big it starts to look fuzzy. Searching for an image of a particular size is going to help you with that. So you click on Search Tools, and then you're going to look for size. My guess is medium is going to be fine and large might be a little too big, but I'm going to do this with medium. And then I'm going to say I want this image. Oh. So I think I accidentally clicked. What you'll find is if you click on the image itself, it will often take you to the web page that that image is on, which is sometimes not what you want because it can be hard to see the image that you actually want. And I should probably mention, I don't know what your presentation is for, but you know, there are definitely copyright implications to at least be aware of. Okay, so you find the image you want, you click View Image, and so this gives you just the image. Now there are a couple of things you might be able to do here. Sometimes you can like drag images into a document like this, where I just, if you're using a mouse, you would just left click and pull it over into the document. My guess is you might not be able to do that, so I'm going to show you that you can save it first. Since you don't want to go hunting for something, I often just save it to my desktop so it's really easy to find. You'll want to make sure you tap on your desktop. So now I can see it's saved over here on my desktop. Your system doesn't work that way. I'll show you how to do it, which it sounds like you might already know this, but just for the sake of thoroughness, I'm going to show you, which is I'm going to say Insert, Insert. Oh, where is it? Let's do Picture from File. I'm going to go to my desktop. And then here's my picture. Okay, so this is where it can get tricky, and I anticipate your system could possibly work different than my system and give you issues. But I can talk you through some of the things that might be causing you some problems, and this is where putting images into Word becomes kind of an issue. And you know, Word was developed to be a word processing, not an image processing piece of software, so that's why you have to kind of just accept that it's a little crappy sometimes. But you can drag these corners. I recommend dragging from um, the, the, the actual corners so that it sizes proportionally, instead of getting scrunched, because if you try to like drag it to the size of the picture, it's going to get all stretched out and you don't want to do that. But you should be able to just drag the corner and you can see that it will get bigger proportionally. So that's one thing you need to know. The other thing it sounds like you might be having trouble with is the alignment of the image. So what you can do to check that is you can right click and then you can look for text wrapping. And in my program, it defaulted to inline with text, which means that the text will just kind of wrap around it. But if you wanted the text to fall above and below it, you could do something like top and bottom. You could put text over it by choosing one of these options. You can decide like So let me actually maybe add some text in here so you understand how to manipulate it. And I also want to point out, this is what makes it kind of tricky to get right, is that, hey, my cursor is in front of this image, or is my cursor behind this image, and now I can add text. Now, I think what you were talking about in that you wanted to have a picture on one page and then a question on the next page, I think all you were trying to do is add what is called a page break, and that just means that when you say insert a page break, everything after that goes to a brand new page, so that it is frustrating if you are trying to create like one page of image and one page of text, if you're constantly using like the enter key to adjust where the text is on one page versus another. But if you insert a page break, then it'll always respect that no matter what you put in. So to create a page break, what you want to do is, in this case, you want your text to be on a separate page than your image. So I put my cursor right before my text, and then you just say insert, and then break, page break. And that pushes all the text to the next page, and you would keep adding information here, more information, more, keep going as much as you want. And then when you're ready to add your next image, again, you'll just say insert, break, page break, and then you can add another image. So I'll add the same image. Insert picture from file. There are my puppies. And there we go. So you can see I have one page with a picture, and then a page with text, and then a page with a picture. So one thing I wanted to point out is if you put your text in here and you need to add more text, you can click back in here, but be careful about where you start hitting delete, because this is where your invisible page break is trashed. So just be careful where you delete things. But you could just keep typing here, keep going. I'm going to keep going because I want you to see actually what happens when I get to the end of this and what it does to the image. Okay, so notice that my text was about to run to a second page of text, and I got to that second page. Because I have this invisible page break living right here all the time that says don't let anything after this be on the same page as what I'm working on, it pushed the image, the next set of images, to the next page to live by itself, so that the text doesn't end up right above the image. So that's why page breaks are really useful. So that's kind of how that works. And then, yeah, you can just resize this. At least on my computer, I can even resize it off the page. You might be running into an issue with your columns or your margins. If you want this to go like all the way to the sides and you're like, why can't I get it to go more this way? Because I'm trying to drag it and it's not going. Why is that? Why can't I drag it down? What I recommend trying is adjusting these columns or these margins. Now, if you do this, I'm trying to remember if it's going to affect your question page. It might. So let's just play around with it. I'm going to actually select the image and see what happens. I got rid of that margin completely, rid of that margin completely, and now you can go the full width of the page. Ta-da, even more puppies. And actually, it's nice, probably because your page break, it's kept the margins as normal. 1-inch margins are pretty standard on your next page. So you get this nice full width image of enormous puppies, and you're good to go. Now, if you also wanted to lose this space, you could probably do the same thing here. And now you have a page that is completely full of puppies, and everyone's excited about that. It looks like, this is interesting. So I think what I just did, I might not have selected the image when I took away that top border. So I think that might be why that's happening. So if I just do undo what I did, now I have that margin again, and select the image and then get rid of the border. Nope, that still messed it up. This is why Word is tricky, because it wasn't really built to do this. Let's see what happens if I do it this way. Nope, still a problem. So if you're having an issue with wanting to have more space here, it looks like I might not be able to help you with that. Hopefully that's not the problem that you have, but if it is, like, we can try to see if I can find out another solution. Let me point out a couple of the things that you can do. This little green circle up here, if you click on that, you could rotate the picture if you want to. It's now bigger and it popped down here. I can't imagine that you need to do that, but in case you do, that's where it is. Let me play around with the alignment because I have a feeling that the biggest issue you're having has to do with the text wrapping. So yours might be doing this. Let me add some text in so you can see. Yeah. Maybe, oops. Maybe you have a title on this page and you want that to be big or something. And then you have image information. So I want you to notice that, like, playing around with the alignment of the image is what's going to change, like, how your image and your text show up. But I have this square alignment now, so I can just, like, move this around and the text will adjust. See how it's moving around as I move the image around? It doesn't sound like you have that because it sounds like you're just doing an image and then followed by questions. But in case you do, like, the key to that is doing that right click, text wrapping, and then you can just play around with these options to figure out which one's going to do what you need it to do. And eventually you should get there. And actually, I wonder if, yeah, it looks like if I chose, instead of before I had in line with text, and that's why I couldn't go past this upper border. But now that I have a square or a tight option, it doesn't care about the borders. So that gives you a lot more flexibility too. So I think, oh, and then I guess the other thing that you were asking about was, like, if you wanted to center the text. That's pretty easy. So you would just copy what you want to center and then add it here. Notice that only the things that I selected were centered, as opposed to if you, let's insert another page break, page break. If before you typed anything, you centered it and then you started typing, like, now everything is going to be centered because you didn't select something specific. One thing you should also notice how this is kind of centered. The reason for that is this, I got rid of this right margin, but I didn't get rid of the left margin. Now that I have margins, it looks more centered. But if you're doing this and you're like, I want some of it to be centered, but not all of it, you can just tap the left align. And there you go, you have both kinds on a single page. And hey, here's some more puppies. So I think that covers just about everything that you were trying to do. If you're still having issues, then we can figure it out. Love you. Bye.